Two children are home safe today after going missing last night in Wilbraham. Thanks everyone for joining us on this Wednesday. Welcome to Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Mary Wilson. Police using multiple techniques to find the two kids and bring them home safely. Western Mass News reporter Paris Dunford joins us live after getting answers on how that search played out. Paris.
Chris, Mary, those two children went missing after taking their dog for a walk around the neighborhood. Now, police tell us the team worked from multiple departments working together helped bring these two home safely. Two Wilbraham children are now home safe thanks to the efforts of multiple departments and concerned community members. The parents of an 11-year-old boy and 15-year-old girl called police after their kids never came home from walking their dogs around the neighborhood on Tuesday.
The trail that they were on, you can get twisted. It's thick, heavily wooded, it's swampy, and they just got themselves confused in there.
Western Mass News getting answers from first responders on how the search was conducted. The Wilbraham Police Department tells us they sent out a mutual aid request asking for local departments to bring their equipment to help in the search. East Longmeadow officer Alex Serra showed up on scene to help as a pilot for a thermal camera drone.
It's thermal camera imaging to fly it over a wooded area and attempt to locate a heat signature for those missing juveniles, which we were able to do successfully and bring those kids out of the woods.
These are the images he shared with Western Mass News. This is when they located the two children walking in the woods after a neighbor spotted them on a trail. Then this is an image showing officers escorting the children out to meet safely with their parents. Police tell us many people in the community showed up to help with the search, which they understand the desire to help. However, they had to turn them away in fear they might disrupt the canine or drone deployed in the search.
People in the woods, people with flashlights, it's every time a 911 caller saw a flashlight, they're calling us. It's pulling our resources away from what we're trying to do.
Police say the teamwork involved in Tuesday's night search was what brought the two home safely in just 2 hours. Police did want to thank those neighbors who reported spottings of the children and helped police pinpoint where the two got lost. Reporting live in Wilbraham, Paris Dunford for Western Mass News.
Paris, thank you.